Well, it seems even the January straight-to-DVD movies can't be exempted from the just average trash we gotta deal with. Now, when I say average trash, I don't mean in the sense that, average is trash. I just mean that it's been the exact same, stagnation. And one thing I do enjoy about my movies is the fact that there's various levels of rage I can get to, or joy, or just, giving it some props here and there. And I'll say out of the meh menagerie that most of January was, with the exception of 12 Strong, Batman Gotham by Gaslight is very okay meh. It's got more good aspects than bad, but here's the problem. Batman is, and until I die probably, will be my second favorite character of all time. Providing that my number first doesn't proceed to do something incredibly horrible that makes me want to drop him from my number one spot, or Batman does something incredibly crazier that I've never anticipated from him to rank him up, but that's not going to be the case most likely. Because both him and my number one, and if you don't know who that is, watch my videos, both have their set, gimmick, their nature. Be regardless of what area you put them in, of time or space, they still have the qualities and quirks to them. In this case, Batman is trying to be, still a detective in Gotham. The only difference is he's trying to track down Jack the Ripper instead of the Joker, and instead of modern-day Gotham, it's more Victorian England style set Gotham, which is enjoyable. It's a new take on the character, it's a new twist on it, and, I give the art style credit. They do match Victorian England style, especially with the garments, the way the city feels, and just the way they talk. But there's one overarching problem with this. The story is Batman is trying to track down Jack the Ripper, with all of the characters from the original Batman series in there. We got Selina Kyle, we got Poison Ivy, we got Jim Gordon, we got O'Hara. I think his name was still O'Hara, I'm not entirely sure, but it was basically O'Hara. You got Alfred's there, and you got both Dick, Jason, and Tim, just in more kid versions, but they still had the age gap to kind of offset, like Tim being the youngest and Dick being the oldest, and there's a bit of... the characters are still there. Dick's the upright, noble person, while Jason's the more in it for himself and his brothers. Even when someone's basically giving them free food and clothing, and that's just being a dick, but that's not like Dick. But Jason is a dick, but Dick is not Dick, because Tim is just sitting there watching what the heck am I doing, and no one who's seen any Batman has wondering what the hell I'm talking about. But that's actually a big flaw in this movie as well, joke aside. If you don't know the Batman lore very well, and you don't really get all the Easter eggs, you're missing out a lot in this movie, and there's not much really to be seen. It's your stereotypical, find Jack the Ripper. Who is it? And it's going to be someone related to him. There's not going to be a massive twist that it's secretly this version's Joker, except this Joker's more sane and physically fit. No, not really. I will say, Hugo Strange is in this movie, and he plays up very nicely with the Victorian counterpart to him, thinking everything is, all in the mind and it can be fixed. However, in Victorian England style setting, fixing the mind is basically sticking two electric rods between there and zapping it, or giving so many pills you can't know which way is up, or going in there and carving out the lobato lobe to make you basically lobotomized. Which, yeah, that's a messed up scene later on in the movie. But you got those good bits, but then you get just useless bits like Poison Ivy and how she's introduced. She's a skin tease, basically. It's Pamela Iverson, her stage name is Poison Ivy, and she's the first victim. But, the only thing that really says she's Poison Ivy is the fact that she wears, like, a leaf bikini, basically. A bikini actually made out of leaves, for the tantalizing purpose. And it just seems very... It's nice, but it's just... there's really no point to it. And when she gets killed, it just feels like, stolen off. Nothing of real value is gained or real value is lost, except for the fact that, yeah, this is going to be one of those movies. There was a lot of blood and violence in this, and people, oh god. If you stop and think about this in real life, no one is walking out of this movie unscathed. People are getting shot, stabbed, knife goes through the arm all the way on the other side. That arm is now useless. You have hit so many carotid arteries and so many nerves, and you probably scraped the bone. That thing's going to be inoperable in about 10 seconds if you're lucky. But then it goes on from that, but they're trying to keep it realistic. It seems very disjointed. Batman the Animated Series, for the most part, was consistent in how it, felt. It felt realistic, even though you were dealing with Scarecrow poisoning everybody with his fear gas, or Joker magically getting the funds to get blimps full of explosive Christmas presents. But it felt like when they were doing something or when something was happening, it felt real. Like when someone's about to get dumped into a thing of acid, it's not going to be for a one-off joke. Or when somebody gets injured, you feel the force of the attack. Here, they're trying to do that, but it just doesn't carry over. And when you reveal who the Ripper is, it feels cheated. It's one of the biggest issues with Identity Crisis, one of the DC's series. Basically, the whole gimmick of the movie is someone has killed Sue Dibney, wife of the Elongated Man, and everybody wants to find out who it was. Batman, the New Guys, the Metal Men, everyone works together. They're looking for all these clues, these tidbits. You're finding dead-offs, red herrings, and people keep getting injured or killed more and more, and the bodies pile up. And we as the reader try to figure out, okay, who is it? Who could this possibly be? And when it's revealed, it A, contradicts everything, and B, we're left scratching our heads going, why? This makes no sense. Only a contrivance for the movie, or for the comic book in this case, but then for the movie it feels the same way. We're not given the same amount of information because Batman isn't. And yes, it's a reveal and shock for him, but you can have that reveal without it being, just, he finds out when the mask is removed. Or when he walks into the closet. It'll make sense. A perfect example for how this should have been handled would be like in Batman Under the Red Hood. A fantastic movie. I recommend anybody to go see it. Even if you know nothing of Batman outside of maybe one episode in the show or just from, passing glance. It is one of the best Batman movies I have ever seen. It tackles his greatest failure and the discovery of the Red Hood, which everyone knows at this point is Jason Todd. I'm not even going to say that's a spoiler. You know who it is from the get-go. But Batman's reveal and just the realization and the shock on his face and the horror doesn't come from with a dramatic reveal, but through his detective work, and then it leads to more confrontation and issues. You could have had that in this movie, but you spent so much of it trying to just set this world up, there's really not much to it, and just plot contrivance for plot contrivance. Which leads me to the biggest issue of this movie, is the payoff at the end. There is no payoff. It's kind of like, how to put this right? Like if you were playing a video game, like an arcade mode. Once you beat the final boss, there's nothing else. It ends, and the story just stops. In this case, however, it's the same thing. Batman and Selina fight the Ripper. Dick, Jason, and Tim show up to help them, along with Alfred, who... Make Alfred useful, guys, please. He's more than just stern butler. But, so they come in, and it's all hunky-dory, except the problem is the movie ends. No one knows who the Ripper is besides, Batman and the kids and Selina. But who's going to believe them? Because it's, Victorian England style, and women have no rights. I'm sorry, that's the basic case. You have basically two roles back then. Prostitute-y slut or wife. Yeah. And they address that in the movie too, but that's one of the things that makes the movie feel too real to its era. But, only they know who the Ripper is. Bruce is still wanted for being the Ripper. The only one who can collaborate his story is gone. And everything that he's built for is now up in flames. So, what do? You think they would do something like a one-off, like just a 2-minute spiel at the end just to wrap everything up, even if it's not. So you leave us cut off, and it feels like you just stop halfway through the story. It's like, and then oh look, class is over, we'll discuss this never. Bye! I expect more out of this stuff. It's not bad, it's just, it could have been so much better. And makes me concerned about the Japanese animated Batman movie coming up. Japanese Batman, I believe it's called. It looks good, but I just hope they give some character and depth to it. Because just because a movie looks good doesn't make it good. It's true for Star Wars Episode 8, it's true for Batman by Gaslight, and it's true for anything else. Would I recommend this movie? I guess. I mean, if you're a fan of Batman Elseworld Tales, you get a kick out of it. But if you're not, but you just want to see a good Batman movie, my recommendation would either be Mask of the Phantasm, Under the Red Hood, or Batman Superman World's Finest. Those three movies are key to showing Batman's competency and what he's truly capable of. Anyway, January's come and gone. Here's looking forward to February. As always, guys, I'm Kevin Riley signing off, and I'll see you all next time. Later.